Every morning, you need to mind hack and murder hack your brand.
Exponential growth is exponential.
Look at your calendar and burn it. What is your personal winning resume?
The number one thing that they don't teach in school is to make money. Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneur.
Produce.
I am literally a god.
Spartans!
Business.
Money hacks. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Money Hacks. I'm Bridge Stewart.
And I'm Dustin Taylor Hahn.
Today, we have a very special episode. We are going to be discussing, very much in the news, very much affecting a lot of people, cybersecurity, the CyberWeb. All this information that's really running through the internet. How do you, protect what information you have on the internet? This has become a very important issue. Dustin, what do you think about this subject?
What were you saying?
Talking about cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity. Yeah, I'm into it. I lost her.
What are you talking about?
I lost her. I lost Mole Woman. I can't find her, and this just happened this morning. I'm a little frazzled. Sort of freaking out here, Bridge.
Look, I'm gonna be
the love of my life.
I'm gonna be pretty honest. I'm getting pretty fed up with this whole mole subject that keeps getting brought up. I've disliked this mole woman from the beginning. I think it's an abomination by all stretches of the imagination. Frankly, it's infuriating me that she is now intruding into this podcast again. So the sooner we can drop any discussion about this damn mole woman, I think the better.
It's less the fact that I miss her, and it's more the fact that I put a lot of work into her.
She
might be angry with me because she started reverting.
Yeah,
so I give her this weekly treatment, and she didn't like it last time. That was a big argument.
Frankly, it says volumes that you're marrying something that belongs in a cage.
Well, I'm trying to set it up so that at some point I could take her out and we can go out dancing.
And now this thing is just loose.
I'm just afraid she's going to let the others out. I don't want this to be a thing, so I'll keep my mind off of it. We'll talk about cybersecurity, and
I completely agree. Well, anyway, we have a very special guest today. He is a hacker, one of the most proficient hackers I've ever known. I think one of the most proficient hackers in the world. Goes by the name Gribbace42. Gribbace, thank you for coming on board our show.
Thank you,
Hi,
Bridge.
Gribbace.
Hi, Dustin.
So Gribbace, what's Gribbace?
Gribbace is actually an ancient Greek god. It's a name that I chose as my alias. And this was about 7-8 years ago that I chose this name to hide my identity when I decided to work for the NSA.
So Gribbace was not your hacker name; it was the name that the NSA gave you, or that
I changed my name to Gribbace42.
So what was your hacker name?
Well, if I were to reveal that, that would make me vulnerable to further, really unspeakable attacks. I could be kidnapped. I know we're kind of jumping right into it. I do want to back up just a minute and say thank you for having me. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited and equally nervous to be out here. I don't get outside very often. I spend many hours, days, weeks, months. I've spent 2 years on end inside a tiny hot room working with my 14 computers. And
computers work better in the heat. We all know that.
This is true. That's why I also have a couple space heaters that I put in there, and I kind of sweat out the toxins while I work. It clears my mind and makes me sharp for defending our country.
That's great. We actually talked about this in our previous episode. I have accountants that work for me, and I keep them in a very hot room. I make sure it's hot.
You gotta
in there. They crunch the numbers better when the heat's up. When it's excruciatingly hot, that's when the best work happens.
Your mind begins to reel a bit when it's hot, and that's where the good ideas come from.
It does. That's true. In fact, they would have us all lined up when I first started working for the government, 14, 15 people in a row in a small closet in the dark. They made us have very tight ties. If you loosen your tie, they would come in and strangle you.
Wow. Now that's some management
James
skills.
Bond sort of scenario.
Oh, yeah. That a lot of the James Bond films took scenarios like that from real life.
Well, let's start from the beginning, because I feel like you've lived. How many lives have you lived?
I'd say 4.6 or 7. Yeah. Well, I've been through many iterations, almost like a phoenix kind of coming back from dying. But if we could start from the beginning, I'm from Philadelphia, which is a great town. In fact, a lot of hackers come from Philadelphia.
It's got a scene.
Yeah,
The
there
Philly
is.
hacker scene.
It's something I imagine within the public school system.
It's also a hotbed of raves. Philadelphia. So
Absolutely.
I imagine hackers.
Lots of gas masks. In fact, I have about 4 gas masks that I take and I switch out when I go to each rave. And of course, it's also a double entendre, concealing my identity as well as enjoying the cleaner air.
That's fantastic. I mean, when I've always imagined hackers, I imagine them taking copious amounts of MDMA and going into these raves and just, going out of their minds, just like in the movies and partying with Angelina Jolie. I mean, I'm sure that's
She's great.
Oh,
she's great. Well, yeah, we came up together in Philadelphia. We same graduating class.
Angelina Jolie is from Philadelphia.
Can't really get too far into it, but she definitely is on the outskirts of the hacking world.
She got in trouble, I assume, because she gave a lot of secrets
She
away.
did. She got a slap on the wrist. Luckily, her celebrity status prevented her from being kidnapped. But she is definitely in the know.
Does that happen a lot? A lot of hackers just get kidnapped.
Yes, that's true. Some of my closest friends, have disappeared. Wiped off.
Really?
Wiped out.
Is that dangerous? That's
well, that's a good question because we don't know where they are. I mean, they could be having a good life.
Can't you find them? And you're a hacker. You could find them.
I am a hacker. I could send out a beacon, which I've done only a couple times.
That's
but it's kind of
like a hacker beacon. What's the symbol?
Well, it's a tune. You send it out through the hacking mainframe, and it goes, do-do-do, yeah, do-do-do, yeah. And that actually sounds like
through the system.
Yes.
So it's whale language.
Well, it's sonar. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's part of hacking training is you become versed in different animal noises, kind of like how the Navajo wind talkers during World War II used their language. We use some animal noises.
Or like how when I'm really angry at my employees, I screech at them like a bird.
You do? Wow. Did you ever work in the government?
No, I would never work in the government because I hate the government.
That's right.
But no, I just find when you screech like an eagle at your employees, it really gets them in line.
I only asked because they did similar tactics when we were in the hot box. That's what we call when we were training with the NSA when I first was recruited. They would project loud animal noises through speaker systems
the old
to get us in line and remind us to tighten our ties.
So when you're crunching numbers, your accountants crunch numbers, Bridge, but when you're crunching numbers, you're only crunching 2 numbers.
Well, yeah, they flip back and forth very
ones and
quickly.
zeros.
Ones and zeros. Have you ever seen The Matrix?
Uh-huh.
It's just
Definitely.
like that. All my computer screens are green, and there's just zeros and ones going up and down, and I just read them very quickly.
And just big beat techno blasting it all out.
Oh, yeah, always, yeah. Well, I have my gas mask, and between the animal noises, they blast house music.
It's very similar to films. I thought films would have exaggerated, but this is exactly...
No, they're very accurate, especially the ones that Miss Jolie produces and works on.
Have you ever met John Voight?
I have.
I'm a big Voight head, so that's the only reason why I asked.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Midnight Cowboy.
Right. No, great movie. It said that most hackers saw that movie as young children and decided to join the profession of hacking.
Wow.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Sort of like Saving Private Ryan.
Correct. Yeah. That was also an inspiration.
Yeah.
Well, John Voight wasn't in Saving Private Ryan, was he?
No, but it made people...
Yeah.
Want us
No,
to...
he was the general.
Oh, yeah. He was General Voight. I believe
Voight.
he was in it. Yeah.
So tell me about why hackers were those Guy Fawkes?
Right.
They were Fox masks.
Fox masks. It does come from Guy Fawkes, Guy Fawkes, if you will, November 5th.
He was a Foxman.
And he was a Foxman, and he tried to blow up Parliament many years ago. 1979, it was a kind of a revolution, a rebellion against the Parliament because they would no longer allow them to hunt foxes because they were becoming endangered. So they took the mask and try and go blow something up. So I usually will wear that over the gas mask. So it's kind of a gas mask, fox mask, and it's hot. It makes me sweat more. That's good, and that's good for back to being hot when I'm working.
That's great. I mean, this is one thing, though, with Anonymous that I haven't cared for. I don't like the look of the Fox mask. I think I find it unflattering.
It might be a good idea for John Voight masks. Why not bring those back?
Even better.
That would be good. Yeah, we did reach out to him. His representation said that wouldn't be, we couldn't trademark that. The trade was trademarked.
All these hackers putting out these videos about taking over the government and world powers.
Yeah, it would put Mr. Voight in danger, though, and we wouldn't want to put him in harm's way.
Yeah, that would be pretty intimidating, to be honest. If I saw a bunch of guys coming at me in John Voight masks, that I would walk the other way.
Yes, it would get the point across.
But imagine on the reverse side, a crowd of John Voight mask wearing people with bats just destroying the Bank of America. I mean, John Voight could definitely hide himself in that crowd.
He could.
You wouldn't know which one's John Voight and which one is just another hacker.
I do believe he's retired. He's getting older. However, he would probably be
like a
flattered.
wave of John Voights just rushing down Wall Street.
I mean,
who
wouldn't?
Just running through the streets with bats.
Right.
And computers, of course, because they're hacking at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that's called mobile hacking. So you can do it from your phone, or if you have a personal computer.
Or a monitor, just holding a monitor and hacking at the same time while running down Wall Street.
Yeah, group hacking. One has a monitor connected to the cord to a server, connected to someone, another has a mouse. It gets very complicated. But it's a group effort. A lot of hacking can be group efforts, and it's not just people alone in their dark rooms.
If somebody came into my business dressed as John Voight holding a computer, I would try to get that person shot as quickly as possible.
It would be wise to do that. Yeah.
What?
Do you hear something?
Yeah. Oh, shh.
That's your?
I think that's her.
Yeah, I was listening during your introduction.
Oh, woman!
Well, what you might want to do is not scream. It might scare her away. I want her to know that
I'm here and I'm her loving fiance with open arms.
This is becoming an issue.
Yeah. Well, right. I have dealt with fleeing animals before.
I do have a tracking device on her. I just don't know if it fell off or not because it's not. Here, would you mind looking at this?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Wow. This technology is a little dated. This remote is just a rectangular metal box with a big red button on the front of it and a retractable antenna. Now, this looks more like a child maybe built something like this in his father's workshop.
Yeah, well, that's where I made that, yeah.
So this is going to be not quite the kind of advance you'd want to do to track a large beast, particularly one that is a hybrid, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So right now, I would hesitate to press the button. I don't know what it does.
What's interesting, too, is that I don't either.
Honestly, I don't think you need to even track this thing. It's going to come scurrying back for food at some point. And honestly, I don't think you should give it food.
Well, that's kind of a personal choice for Dustin. Is she your pet or?
She's my wife.
Okay. I apologize.
She's my wife.
Well, it is a fairly secluded island, I noticed on my helicopter flight in.
There's not many places she can go.
Talking about that is actually interesting. Of course, when I worked with Anonymous, the hacking group, and the FBI and the NSA worked together to actually, what they kind of say colloquially as, they flipped me, which isn't quite kosher to the hacking community.
So you must have a lot of enemies then in the hacking community.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why I go by Gribbace42. And...
So you don't go by WWII anymore?
We did a little research before you came in. We had to. I mean, we had to bring you in. We have a lot of friends in the hacking community. We didn't want to mention that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud. I mean, I did. But
right.
But you can just, rename yourself again.
Yeah, and move.
Well, I'm going to have to do that now. Thank you.
What about like Gribbace43?
Well, I'm going to make one that I'm not going to tell you about it because then it would.
Well, you're here already. You might as well finish the podcast.
Well, yeah, I'll do that because my helicopter doesn't leave for another 3 hours.
And it might not even leave at all.
So,
what's the biggest hacking story that you can tell us? Give us something interesting. Have you dodged bullets?
Yes. But that's not the most interesting story, oddly enough. 10 years ago, I was tracking a hacker who was notorious for shutting down hospitals. He would shut down whole strings of hospitals on the eastern seaboard.
I remember that guy was a real scoundrel. He really targeted the children's hospitals. He really went after those kids' hospitals. He got those kids.
He did. Well, but he went by Cockknocker42.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cockknocker42. I remember that.
So what's the 42? Is that because they're big baseball fans?
That could be it. I am attracted to even numbers and numbers that don't go above 5. So again,
42,
there's only so many choices. Well, we say it's 4-2, but it's quicker to just say 42.
Yeah.
And I work with zeros and ones, so anything over 5 confuses me.
And also a fun fact, when a grown man reaches the age of 42 is when he's at his peak strength. So maybe
Correct.
that factors into it too.
I'm really looking forward to that next year. Yeah. So anyway, I was tracking down Cockknocker 42. And I was close. I was hot on his tail for about 6 months, and he was leaving us breadcrumbs, which is another thing that some of these sadistic guys do. They'd send me personalized emails, videos, saying mean stuff. You're stupid.
I remember my company got hacked by a hacker several years ago. He left literal breadcrumbs in my office, just all over the place.
And that's where the pigeons. That's why they had that big pigeon outbreak, because they were attracted to the bread.
Pigeons love bread. This is a fact, and boy, did they love it in my office.
Is that perhaps something that you could use, Dustin, to call your wife to come back, maybe breadcrumbs?
She doesn't eat bread. She doesn't eat bread.
Okay. Doesn't eat bread.
Sure. No. Strictly rib.
Oh, just protein.
Only rib.
Oh, okay. Right.
If rib is protein, then yeah, she eats protein.
Yes, it's protein.
Just these ribs.
Just rib.
Okay.
Doesn't finish that.
Looks like she's scurrying around the air duct once again.
Okay. You mind pressing that red button there, and that might turn it on.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Oh, that's the on button.
Okay, well, yeah, that solves that. It's on. Well,
I'm trying to count the intervals between the... Yeah, it sounds like she's getting away.
They're getting
like
longer.
Somewhere else in the compound.
The spaces are longer between the intervals.
Well, let's try to be quiet. Maybe she'll come back if we're a little bit quiet.
It was about a 6 or 7 month journey, and then finally tracked him down in Philadelphia, living in a nice little studio. He never left. 13 years in one place.
It took you 13 years to get him?
No, he was 13.
Well, these kids,
they're very
These are
smart.
some, smart kids.
I mean, we're in an age of Instagram and Twitter. They've got a phone in their hands by age 3. By age 13, they're shutting down hospitals all along the eastern seaboard.
Yeah. When I have my baby, I'm going to be putting a phone in its hand right after it comes out of the womb.
Right. Well, I've heard that there's actually new implants that you can insert a phone into the womb, start learning, prenatal learning.
You got to get that fetus on Instagram stat.
Correct. So that was definitely the strangest of the cases that I had, because I had never had to break into the house of a 13-year-old and arrest him.
Oh, you arrest him as well. Do they provide you with equipment for that? I thought you were just an analyst.
Well, they give me a stipend, and I go to Home Depot, and I acquire all the tools that I need. The different chains and ropes.
Wow, so you're really a jack of all trades.
This is part
2
of
trades, hacking and breaking and entering and kidnapping. Well, yeah, 3 trades. I've taken some martial arts classes as well. That's 4.
So when you say hacking, this is computer work.
Computer work. I can work with windows and doors, locks. Hacking. Sometimes there's a second story apartment. Oh yeah,
that's the ultimate form of hacking.
It is the ultimate form of hacking. It's a little old school. See, that's what the young kids don't have on our generation.
Yeah.
Because Cockknocker could shut down 44 hospitals, but didn't see me coming knocking, for his cock.
He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that pre 9/11 strength.
Correct.
Can you talk about other ways that you can hack people?
I've hacked people in Manhattan, wallets, phones. Mostly, the most vulnerable are purses. It's very easy to
You're
just
gonna hack into
zip
their
and
purse.
reach. Yeah, in the wintertime is the best time because all the layers, it makes it more difficult to detect touch whilst I'm hacking.
So the government is just sending you around the streets of New York, just robbing people on the L train.
Correct. The government sends me on these hacking projects. I call them projects.
So give us a general, what's your day-to-day? How often do you sleep? I imagine you don't get much sleep. What's your day look like as a hacker?
I usually hit the hay around 10 a.m. And I get up around noon. And that's and I roll out of my sack. And I get right to my computer, answer emails for about 20 minutes, and then start hacking, and then yeah. So, and I hack for 9-10 hours straight, and then I'll hit the streets, and then.
So generally, your day is you wake up in a hot room, emerge from your sack, hack for hours, and then go around mug people.
Again, I go on a lot of projects.
Well, this has just completely confirmed all of my suspicions about the U.S. government robbing us of our money.
But here's the thing. It's not just money that we're stealing. It's not like, oh, we're just stealing your money. You know, like I take my hairbrushes. So it's not really just a monetary thing that we're...
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing
No,
this?
I understand.
Why do you need this?
The government needs its pound of flesh is what it boils down to. They just want all our stuff.
It's important for the security of our nation, and I really firmly believe in the work that I do.
That's a good transition because I do want to talk about just data, and it's a big issue of stealing people's data and getting all their information.
So where do you see technology going?
The future is going to be very exciting. Everywhere you go, your face will be scanned, your eyes will be scanned, your frame will be scanned, and they will be keeping tabs on your weight and your height and making sure that you are maintaining a consistent image. For instance, here's what it'll be like. You'll get up out of your sack or your pod, and immediately you'll have to roll over and get a scan, and then you'll go to the kitchen if you're hungry, open the fridge, you'll get a second scan, and then you'll have to ask for which kind of food you would like, and then they'll open one of the shelves for you
and tell you what you like.
Well, no, you'll have options. I mean, you'll have, you can have an egg or yogurt. And
an egg or yogurt,
and those will be your options. So you're going to still have your options. It's not going to be a restrictive future, but the pattern will move on like this. Every 12-15 minutes, you'll get a scan. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be in trees in the forest. It's going to be underwater scans. It's going to be actually probably the best thing for our species. I think it's kind of the pinnacle of evolution, if you will. It's kind of the top of the pyramid.
I honestly think that people won't stand for that. I think they're going to say, I need a little more than an egg today. And if you scan me, I will strike you.
I do have to say, though, that the glasses I'm wearing, I record 24/7 as I go around, and it goes directly into a stream back to my offices in Philadelphia and into a server. So,
okay, I think it's safe to say that you're not leaving here.
They're watching this conversation as we speak, so they know.
Okay.
I just heard a beep on the...
Yeah, I heard that.
Sounds like she's getting closer.
Yeah, she's getting closer. There's a vent right above the room.
There's a vent right above the room. Should I poke at it? I'm going to poke at it.
Don't unscrew the vent. No, don't unscrew it. This thing has already become enough.
Whoa!
Ah! Oh my God! I'm gonna grab her, honey!
Jesus Christ, get that thing under control. Look, I'm just gonna take the broom to it. I'm getting it with the broom.
No, don't! Right. Bridge! This is not working out. Bridge, are you blind? Alright, I'm blowing it. That's it, I'm blowing this whole compound. Bridge, get in the pod! Get in the pod, I'm blowing the whole compound!
Emergency disrupt system is now activated.
Bridge, get in the pod!
Will detonate
Bridge, get in the pod! Wait, Bridge, I gotta grab my creams!
Forget about your creams.
No, I need to grab my used creams. I need them.
Forget about the creams.
Creams.
Get in the pot now. Get in. We don't have any time.
I need to grab my used creams. No.
Get in. No,
my creams. My creams. Bridge, no, my creams.
10 seconds.
My creams.
Get in the pot.
My creams.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.